Thank you everyone for joining. We got 2 exciting workshops coming up here today with some technical issues. So I'm just gonna quickly hand it over to Santiago to give an overview of Web3js and how you can get started building on that. Go ahead, Santiago.
Perfect. Hi guys, thank you so much for having me here. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Telegram, or Twitter at Santiago Devrel, in case that you have any questions or anything that you want to know or need related to Web3js. Today, I'm going to cover these 6 points. The first one is a Web3js overview, a timeline, some goals and milestones that we have so far at ChainSafe. The point number 2 is the repository. I'm going to guide you through the repo so you don't feel overwhelmed when you go to GitHub and you see all those different folders and files. After that, we are going to see how to contribute to the codes and packages and the different tests. Then the number 4, we are going to see how to contribute to the documentation. In the number 5, we are going to see some current issues that I kind of collect them for today, so you're able to start contributing after the call. And then at the end, we are going to see different resources. If you want to get started learning Web3js or just to navigate through the repo or communicate with us, that will be at the end. Okay, perfect. So let's start with the overview. Web3js is basically an abstraction of the RPC calls for JavaScript and TypeScript. So if you want to interact with the blockchain, what you need to do is to send all these RPC calls that you see on the top. But this would be really complicated to build dApps or to maintain or even to scale. That would be a ton of code. So for using Web3js, you can literally interact with any EVM blockchain, Polygon, Ethereum, Avalanche, just by importing the library here. Then you need to instantiate a provider. In this case, it's Sepolia, and then you can get started using all the library. We are going to talk about the whole library a little bit later. The usage of Web3js. So right now we have around 2 million of downloads per month and almost 5,000 dependent packages in the ecosystem. Web3js has been used by MetaMask, Chainlink, Remix ID, Truffle, and some other important players in the ecosystem. The timeline of Web3js, so it was created back in 2014 by Jeffrey Wilke. He's one of the Ethereum co-founders. So he created the first commit for version 0.x. Then Marek Kotowicz joined him from Parity Tech to work on version 0.x. After that, in 2015, the creator of the ERC20 token standard, Fabian Vogelsteller, joined the Web3js, and he's the most important contributor so far to the library with more than 600 PRs. In 2019, Ethereum.js took this over as a lead maintainer. Okay, just wanted to check. Can you guys hear me? Everything is fine right now?
Yep, everything's fine.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay, and then in 2020, ChainSafe took over as a lead maintainer. This is thanks to the Ethereum Foundation support and Nomi Labs as well. In ChainSafe, we have different products like Lodestar, Gaming, Forest, etc. We're going to see that later as well. There is a big gap between version 2 and 3 because it just was really messy. There was not really like a clear goal, structure, architecture. So that's why we literally jumped from version 1.2, that was the most stable, to version 4x. Okay, some milestone that we have at Web3js so far is a change that we rewrite the whole library from JavaScript to TypeScript. That was launched last year around August, more or less. Now you're able to import Web3js using ECMAScript modules and CommonJS modules. The most important one is the library size. So as I said, it was a little bit messy. So the architecture, a lot of redundant code. So the library size went down from 329 kilobytes to 156. We also changed the whole documentation. We are still working on that. We have different guides and tutorials. We have the whole APIs. We are also working on videos as well. So we have learning resources for everyone, also some articles. And the most important that we created right now for Web3js is Web3 plugins. That is basically anyone can create plugins for the little projects, for the community. I will cover that later today as well. But that's a game changer for the ecosystem because this is a really unique feature of Web3js version 4. some of the current goals that we have for this, at least for this semester, something really like short-term goals is to attract new developers. So we will be doing some hackathons this year. In 1 month, we'll have an ideathon. We can share more information about that later. Community support. So far, we have a less than 24-hour GitHub issue response or Discord response. So the community support is great. Grow the plugin ecosystem. So as I say, this plugin is something that can help to improve the developer experience of any project. So far, we have plugins for Chainlink. We are working on something for Uniswap, for all the ERC20, ERC721 tokens, and to improve the contributor experience as well. That's why we are here to help you to get started contributing to Web3js. Okay, so let's start with the repository. If you go to, let me just share my whole screen so you can see everything. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Perfect. So when you go to the repo, you will see all these different folders and files, but basically the 2 most important folders are the docs and the packages. So in the packages, you can see all the different sub-packages that we have at Web3js that are those different packages that you see here. I kind of divided them into these 2 core functionality and utility packages. I call them utility because you can basically use them. They're really useful for anything that you want to do with the Ethereum blockchain. And this core functionality just kind of have the functionality for the library itself. So they're different. They contain more like the logic. And these ones are more to be used. The Web3 ETH personal will be deprecated in version 5. But then when you come here, you see all the different sub packages that we have. And then if you want to, for example, Web3 ETH API, all the logic will be in the source SRC folder, and then you can just start exploring around. And then the test, that is one of the easiest and best way to get started contributing, is here. So then you can basically just clone the repo and see how you can contribute to the unit or integration test or the different tests that we have for every sub package. So don't forget that you go to packages, then you choose the one that you like the most or something that doesn't sound really hard. I would say that Web3 ETH in general can be great, a great starting point. This one is the most used package for all the, it contains all the Ethereum like RPC calls and interactions. Then we have the repository, the docs. So if you go to the repo, and then the second most important folder is this docs. And then here in docs, you just need to go to docs again. So you will see Web3js/docs/docs. We have 3 folders here. Glossary, this one will remove this, so forget about that one. We have guides and lit docs. So the main one is guides. And if you go to the documentation, to docs.web3js.org, you will see all the different guides and tutorials here. So if you want to start contributing to the documentation, this is the right folder, docs/docs/guides. And then here we have all the different folders containing the different kind of categories here. So the getting started, providers, wallets, and accounts. Yeah, and then you will find everything here. Just go back here. Perfect. So how to contribute to the Web3js package? TypeScript. Oh yeah. So you need TypeScript. You need Node.js. That's like the basic things. Something really important that sometimes people miss is to create a GitHub issue. If you want to contribute and make a PR, please create a GitHub issue for that, so we can connect both. The second step will be to fork and clone the repository, install the dependencies with yarn or npm install. Something important after you clone the repo, you need to create a descriptive branch. Normally it can be the name of the issue that you want to solve and the number of the issue. So if you want to say create dash hardhat dash guide dash and the number of the issue 1111, whatever. The step number 3 is to make the changes that you want. If it's an important feature, bug, or something that you update, please update the change log. You will find that in the main repo, in the root path, and potentially run the test as well. So you make sure that nothing is broken. That really depends on the change that you made. And at the end, push your changes. And something really important is please be responsive, because after you push the changes, it will go to review for our devs. And then after we have two confirmations, you're able to squash and merge your branch. So please be responsive in case that you need to update or change something. And now how to contribute to the documentation. This is basically the same. You don't even need to know TypeScript. With JavaScript, it's also fine. Node.js, same, create a GitHub issue for and clone the repo. Then you need to go to docs/docs, install the dependencies using yarn or npm install. The same, create the branch with the name and the issue number. Make the changes, and after you make the changes, you can run yarn start, and then you will see a local in the local host 3000. A deployment of a local version of the documentation, so you can see your changes in a live environment. Then just push your changes and please be responsive. Okay, so here we have some, I would say, informal issues. These are not like issues. Let me just click here. We have something that is called to-dos, and then I just put the link. The links will be here in this little GitHub images. So if we go to this one, we have like a list of to-dos in the code. As I say, this is an informal way that we are going to translate this into issues in 1 week, more or less. So we are going to put this into issues, and we are going to label them as a good first issue. But just for today, you have the how can I say that? I missed that word. Yeah, you're fortunate to get these issues today before they are published as a good first issue. These ones are to contribute to the packages. That includes kind of a logic or different tests for the library. So yeah, feel free to go to this slide number 18, and then you will see that. Then we also have current open issues for documentations and no code. These ones I created some of them this week, so you're able to contribute. And something that I always do, at least for the documentation issues, is that I create, let me open them, is that I create a reference inside the issue, or like a comment with everything that is expected from you if you want to take over this issue. So for example, where you need to add this, I say this can be added in the introduction or getting started category. Then let's see, for example, this one, I put references, create a guide under the advanced category with the functionality. Sometimes I put also some sample code, so you're able to know what to do. And also feel free to ask any questions, to tag me here. I will be really responsive, and even if we need to get on a call to help you with something, I will be also willing to do that. Here we have the same for the events guide. I have some reference here with some code. And formatting, this is a new one. This was I just added this like 8 hours ago. And this one is kind of easy to add this guide for the formatting guide. If you have any questions, like in the Q&A, we can go in depth into these issues. And some learning resources that we have right now. So we have this Web3js series. It's like a series of videos that I'm creating from zero to hero to get started with Web3js. We have the documentations. The documentation is great to see everything that you want to learn. Let me just also show you something. In guides and tutorials, we have these different categories here, but then in the documentation tab here, you will also find all the different like methods per package, per sub package. So the sub package of the ABI, of the accounts, of the contract. Then here in the methods, you will see all the different methods for the contract. So for contract, you can deploy, extend, get past events, etc. And the same with these other ones. Chainlink plugin. So here we have a video of how to use the Chainlink plugin. The contributing guidelines, we just added this today to the repo. The contributing guidelines I added how to, like, step by step, how to start contributing to the documentation, like for the repo, clone the repo, create a branch. Everything that I mentioned in the presentation will be here, so you are able to follow this step by step. And then we also have a video from Alexi, one of our developers, how to build a plugin. So you're able to start building plugins as well for the ecosystem. And then I think that's in 1 month and a half, in March 13, more or less, we are going to have an ideathon with Learn Web3 DAO. They're hosting a hackathon, and we are going to have an ideathon to get ideas and use cases for the plugin. So just stay alert if you want to participate on the ideathon. It's really developer friendly and beginner friendly because you don't need to code. That will be the expected outcome is more like the idea and something more feasible, but you don't really need to deliver a whole plugin. And yeah, that's basically everything. And then here you can follow us in Web3 _JS. You can follow me, Santiago DevRel. As I say, you can ask me any questions on Telegram, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Also, you can join our Discord in ChainSafe, and then in the channel Web3js General, we answer all the different questions. Normally, I answer all of them, or someone from the community will help you if you have any query regarding the library usage. And here we have the repo in case that you want to start contributing today. And yeah, that's basically everything for Web3js. Thank you.
Perfect. That's great. Thanks, Santiago. Great overview. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in chat. But I think it was a really great overview, and especially including your contribution guidelines and what you expect from these contributions. Very helpful. Also love to hear that you're collaborating with Learn Web3. Our friends we are organizing the 30 days here as well.
Amazing.
This sounds like a really good starting point to prepare yourself for that hackathon as well. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat. I'm kind of curious myself, actually. I mean, Web3js is, as far as I know, the first JavaScript SDK available. So it's really one of the OG projects, basically. And I can imagine all the history and the growing pains from keeping up with development of Ethereum itself as well. So currently version 4 is, you've talked about this a little bit, is really up to date with the latest developments in the space, but I'm curious if you could share a little bit about the journey and how those kind of, especially major releases or the latest release has helped you guys kept up to date with the latest developments.
Perfect. That's a great question, Wesley. I will say that the most important so far is the organization that we have with the project manager. We are trying to release a new version every 2 weeks, more or less, with new updates or new features or fixing new bugs or something that comes up, depending on the priority. And with these new releases, now with more active development, we are deprecating the version 1, Web3js version 1 in 45 days, 2 months more or less. And that will also bring more time to work towards the growth of version 4 instead of just keeping version 1. And we are just trying to right now, the main thing to keep everything up to date, to grow in the ecosystem is with the plugins. That's our main goal, to find use cases, because the plugin is basically useful for everyone, improve the developer experience for everyone as well. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the main things that we have right now, a great team and the plugins. That's kind of the main thing so far. Thank you, Wesley.
And that's the focus of the hackathon as well, right? The plugin system. Yeah, that's true, because we are finding use cases, but let me just give you a little spoiler. The Web3 plugins, the main thing that it helps or contributes is the developer experience, because it can help you to, for example, if you have let's say Chainlink. So if you want to interact with Chainlink oracles, Chainlink always have these contracts that you call to get the price of Bitcoin in USD, for example. There is always this contract in the mainnet, and that contract is always the same. So instead of looking for the address and the API of that contract and instantiating the new contract, this functionality is in the plugin. So instead of instantiating the contract, looking for the API, importing the API, looking for the address, putting the address, and initializing the contract,
and making the call, all these things is wrapped in the plugin, and then you can directly use the plugin, and the plugin will make all these things under the hood, and then you interact directly with the plugin, and then you can get the price of Bitcoin, for example, or a lot of different pairs. So yeah, the developer experience is the main, let's say, unique value added by the plugins. But we are trying to find some other use cases. For example, the one of Superfluid, that was a good one. I was having some calls with them. Superfluid has a really complex architecture of a lot of smart contracts. And then one smart contract was calling another smart contract, right? And then I was telling them like, why this contract is calling this smart contract to do something. And then I proposed them with the Web3 plugin, you can get rid of this smart contract, and the plugin can talk directly to this smart contract, to the main smart contract. So you are saving gas and even like transaction completion time by just directly calling this smart contract. And yeah, that's like another use case that we found, kind of gas fees or transaction completion time in some specific cases where you have one contract calling another one. And they had this because for developers to call this main smart contract was a little bit complicated. They need to decode some parameters. So they just want to provide a better developer experience by adding this kind of interface on chain. But yeah, maybe that was not super efficient. And yeah, we proposed to have the Web3 plugin. Another use case that we have, I was talking to another blockchain that is in the Cosmos ecosystem. What they were doing was it's like a private blockchain. They have encryption, but then this encryption was made in the front end of the DApp. And then after they encrypt the data, they send this to the blockchain, to the network. But then this encryption, instead of asking the developer to manually encrypt step by step everything, this can also be wrapped into the plugin. Then the plugin can make the encryption and then send the transaction. So yeah, basically just improving the developer experience a lot.
Cool, that's exciting. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, especially if you want to be the sort of neutral SDK as well, it makes a lot of sense to build extended functionalities on top of it based on certain use cases, based on DeFi, based on projects, without really cluttering the main code base, I guess. So yeah, that's a great way. It sounds really amazing. Thank you again.
Thank you.
No other questions in the chat, so I think we're gonna wrap things up, at least for Web3js. If you do have any questions later, feel free to follow up with Santiago. He's on the Discord server. We also make sure to share the slides and this recording as well. So if you want to follow up or have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks, Santiago.
Perfect. No, thank you so much to you, Wesley. Thank you so much, guys.